Hey everybody, I'm Greg Avola, founder of Untapped. Welcome to our Sessionable Saturdays. We got a great lineup today. We're going to be talking to Phil Buchy from Legion's Brewery in Charlotte, North Carolina. It's going to be a great show. Thanks for checking in on this beautiful Saturday, hopefully where you are. Before we get started, though, we want to talk a little bit about our brand new initiative that we're doing here, which is our Untapped Virtual Festival. This festival is going to be obviously virtual. It's our a multi-U.S. state festival. So if you're out there in the United States and you want to be part of it, we have a limited number of tickets left that you can purchase. What this basically is on a 2-day session. We're going to have a session on the 13th of June and the 14th of June. You're going to get an 11-pack of beers delivered to your door in select states. And we're going to sample those beers throughout those 2 different day sessions. We're going to have interviews with brewmasters. We're going to have a guided tasting. We're going to have really cool things from John Harrison, our podcast host. It's going to be a great virtual festival from the safety of your own home. And like I said earlier, we're of a limited number of tickets, probably less than 100 at this point. So definitely check us out at untapped.com/virtual festival. Check out all the details. Like I said, there's 2 packages you can purchase from: a $90 package for the drinking socially, which has 11 beers shipped to your particular door if you're in a certain number of states in the U.S., as well as a stream at home package where you can watch the stream from the comfort of your home. So check us out again, untapped.com/virtual festival. It's going to be airing on June 13th and 14th. And we hope to see you there. Again, limited number of tickets available, less than 100 at this point. So make sure you get your order in before they all get sold out. And we'll hope to see you there. And with that, I want to bring in Phil to the conversation here. Phil, thanks for being on the show. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. Excited to be on the show.
Awesome. Phil, tell us a little bit about what you're a part of there. Obviously, we're all drinking beer, which is a great thing at this point. I know that Charlotte, North Carolina, just had its opportunity to open up some of its doors to its brew pubs. So maybe before we get into actually what you're drinking, what you're doing, let's talk about what you're drinking actually. And what do you have in your glass right there that you want to share about Legion?
I'm drinking our flagship IPA. It's Juicy J. It's an East Coast style IPA with, we use Mosaic, Eldorado, Cascade hops in it. So it's
nice,
a nice, juicy, but crisp, and it's got a nice little bite to it.
Awesome.
So perfect day for a spring day like today.
Unfortunately, we don't get any Legion beers up here in Connecticut, but I've had the pleasure of having that beer when I was down there a couple of years ago. What I'm drinking today is another Connecticut flavor here. This is called Marlowe Artisanal Ales. It's called Eager to Share. This is a New England style IPA in North Haven, Connecticut. So about, if you know where Hartford is, dead center of the state, about 15, 20 minutes south of that. So let's crack open our beers. If you're out there right now watching the show, crack open your beer. Make sure you check them into Untapped. You can use the Untapped at Home venue, which is a great venue to show people that you're practicing social distancing and you're drinking from home. It's a great way to also keep track of all beers that have been checked in across the entire world, because it's a global venue. It actually has close to 9 million check-ins since we launched almost 2 months ago now. We launched on March 25th. So thanks everyone for participating. So we'll raise our glass to you guys. Cheers, everybody. Thanks for watching the show and enjoy your beverage.
Cheers.
Delicious. All right. So obviously, we talked about Legion and Juicy J. Tell us a little bit about your story, Phil, and how this all came together. I know you guys have 2 locations for your brewery there in Charlotte, but let's take a step back and talk about how you got into all this greatness that we call brewery management. So how did that, what's your background? How did you get into this flavor?
Well, that started in Colorado. I went to the Air Force Academy for a little while and fell in love with craft beer out there. And late 90s, came back to Virginia and went to a bottle shop back home, and they had a box up on the shelf. And I was like, what's that? And they're like, oh, you brew your own beer with that. And I was like, what? I was like, give me 6 of those. So I've been brewing since the late 90s, and put my business plan together about 17 years ago. And a lot of swings and misses raising capital. Starting a brewery is not cheap. So it took us a long time to get going. Finally met my business partner about 6 years ago, and we started up. And the whole time we had that grassroots support, and those legion of friends behind us, saying, "Don't give up, keep going. Your beer is awesome." And so we changed our name to Legion and opened up December of 2015, and it's been off to the races ever since.
Very good. Awesome. Obviously,
Yeah.
if people watching right now, if you have questions that you'd like to ask Phil, make sure you use the comment section on your platform, and we'll be able to kind of come through them and ask them throughout this session here. But want to give a shout out to everyone for watching, and thank you for commenting and engaging with us. Obviously, this is a interesting time for breweries because of the whole COVID-19 situation. How has that really affected you? I know that it's kind of the same for a lot of people, but there's also a light at the end of the tunnel in Charlotte and North Carolina as they've opened up some of the doors. Can you walk us through that process for you guys and what you guys are doing and how you got to where you are today?
It's been absolutely crazy for everybody across the nation, across the world, and specifically with us, what's changed for us. Before COVID hit, we were 100% draft only company. We had 400 accounts around town. We self distributed all around town. We're 8,000 a year barrel a year brewery and growing quickly. And COVID hit and we got shut down, and our revenue went to zero instantly. So. No restaurants open, nobody to sell beer to. So we've always planned on canning our beer, and so we pivoted quickly. Had our connections in the industry, connections with the groceries around town, and 2 weeks later, we went from we were packaging 100% of our beer and in every grocery store around the city, and we're actually selling what used to take us a week to sell out of 400 draft accounts. I guess everybody's thirsty because we're selling that same volume of beer in 5 hours now. So
oh wow, jeez,
it's been insane. We had to lay off. We were a 150 person company. I had to lay off, went down to 11, and now we're back to 150. Yesterday was our first day opening up here in North Carolina. We're allowed 50% capacity in our restaurants, and we have two restaurants and a couple more coming. But we're back up to 150 strong, and it was kind of fitting. Yesterday at 5 p.m. is when we were allowed to open our doors, and a tornado blew through at the exact same time and blew out power lines, and
oh geez,
internet went down, and it's kind of a fitting for the times, I guess. Perfect timing of opening the doors. So,
yeah, that's
good.
great.
It's fun. We've got I'm standing out back on our patio right now, and we've pulled tables to make sure that they're 6 feet apart and all that, and every single table in the building right now is full. So it's nice seeing people back. But the buzz of humanity is fun to being around again.
Yeah, we were just talking on Thursday with another bar in New York and how different states obviously have different rules when it comes to these things as things are opening. But one of the most amazing things about owning a brewery and being part of bar is a part of the community. People that come in and chat with each other, obviously with the 6 feet of distance there, it makes it difficult from sometimes. But from your location perspective, are you guys more focused on the food here or the beer altogether? Because as I recall when I visited your location, lots of space to eat, lots of food options. Obviously from menu, it's one thing to have a brew pub and really focus on the beer, but you guys have everything encompassing all in one. So it must have been hard to drop 100% offer in the beginning, and that's that.
That's crazy. Yeah, we're really blessed here. We've got a Michelin caliber chef working for us, and so we really focus hard on the food. That's really the whole reason I got into the beer in the first place is my family cooks a lot, and I love eating. Big culinary background, and to me, beer is just an extension of that culinary experience. And
right.
So we're constantly trying to exceed people's expectations of neighborhood hospitality. So through our beer, through our food, through our service, through our venues. Our venues are unique. Each one you go into is different and visually stunning. And we try to push the envelope and improve in everything that we're doing. We just don't focus on any one thing because beer to me is about people and community, and we try to provide that home away from home, a refuge that people can come in after work or before they go home and have a good time and have that a subconscious feeling of being happy around people. So we try to provide that platform for people in everything that we serve them.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting as states start opening up. I'm hearing more and more from breweries and bars and restaurants as they kind of shift their practices to, reservation only, or like in your case, moving everything from a 6 feet apart. And, the people are always flocking in support their local breweries. You mentioned earlier about you have two locations. Obviously, the one I've been to is your South Park location, which has an amazing look and feel to it in terms of some of the artistic kind of feel to the big barrel around the bar itself. You mentioned before that each one of your locations has a unique feel to it. How did that come together in terms of you thinking about architecturally designing a brewery? Because anyone out there watching now has been to a brewery, you can probably guess they're in an industrial park somewhere, but you guys taking a different avenue from your restaurant and brewery. Where did that come from in terms of your artistic kind of view of how to build your spots?
It's kind of like my background. I'm a civil engineer, and when I got out of college, I went into the construction realm, and I worked for large general contractors, large construction managers, building unique things, and I enjoy it. It's part of what I love about expansion and what we're doing, is we get to build these new cool things, and our vision for the direction of our company is being a part of that of our neighborhoods, and each neighborhood is different. We just don't apply a one size fits all broad brush to where we go. Our first location in Plaza Midwood is very hip, very bohemian, and what we do in Plaza Midwood wouldn't work in South Park because it's a different neighborhood, different people live here, and so but we still are true to ourselves with each neighborhood we go into. When we moved to South Park, we'd like to say that we were funking up the neighborhood. So
I like it. I like
good.
it.
But we've got two more locations coming, and we're going to apply a different idea to each one of those, different menu, a different look, but
Awesome.
still be true to ourselves in what we do and make sure that we deliver the top-notch quality and experience at each one that we do.
Yeah, I mean, you talked a little bit about earlier about community and being part of Charlotte as well. One of the things that I've always been impressed with the area there, and we have an Untapped office downtown as well in Charlotte, is the brewery scene in Charlotte, and I think it's been growing rapidly and really transforming the city into something completely different than what it was even a year ago. Talk to me about how you kind of come to your own and kind of seeing the growth of the beer industry and the craft industry within Charlotte.
Yeah, it's exploded over the last 10 years. I'm actually president of the Charlotte Independent Brewers Alliance. We've got 50, 60 some breweries here in Charlotte, and it's a great, working family that we've got here, frenemies or whatever you want to call it. We everybody gets together and helps each other out if somebody's running short of hops, or somebody has a part that's missing, or or just advice, or getting together and hanging out. We all the breweries here in Charlotte are really bringing their A game and putting Charlotte beer on the map, and we all get along and have good times together. It's a fun community, very, very rewarding industry to be in here in Charlotte.
Yeah, I mean, I remember specifically kind of touring some of the area around there when we had our festival last year, and hope to have our festival again in Charlotte, maybe at the end of this year, depending on how things work out with COVID. We're just not sure at this time. But one of the things that struck me as someone who's not from Charlotte is just the amount of breweries out there, but also the ones that are increasingly opening up every single day. Obviously, with COVID, that's not happening as much as it used to. But, if you ask anybody really about beer, they're probably not thinking about Charlotte. And that definitely is going to change as more and more breweries come to town and the quality of the products are there. Do you guys feed off each other for inspiration in terms of trying to develop new styles? Or how does that work from a collaboration perspective, being part of your role?
We do collaboration brews and get together, cookouts and talk game. And, Charlotte's getting big enough that, it's just not one type of beer scene in Charlotte. You've got, you've got farm to table breweries that are foraging things, and you've got, old style, extremely well made, traditional styles like German styles here. You've got pushing the edge of IPAs. I mean, our IPA is just blowing the doors off of things. We've got GABF gold medal winners here. We've won World Beer Cup medals. It's just kind of, it's not there's not one flavor here. It's
Right.
a bunch of great, unique, different ideas pushing the boundaries and multiple facets. There's food. We've got a foeder program. There's a bunch of other breweries here in town with a foeder program. There's cool ship programs in town. It's just a fun playground to be in. The culinary scene here in Charlotte is growing. We've got one of the nation's largest culinary schools right here in Charlotte, Johnson Wales University, and we're sandwiched in between the hip bohemian Asheville and the likewise with Charleston. Good cultural influences. We're right in the middle with a thriving economy and a great airport. So it's inevitable that Charlotte's going to blow up and have great things available. Because the Charlotte economy is just it's rocket shipping. Especially with the COVID thing, I expect it to grow even faster. There are going to be a lot of people up north that are tired of that.
Yeah. It's funny
how
how
want to come down and enjoy the good weather down here.
Exactly. It's funny how opportunity sometimes comes when you least expect it. In case you joined us late, we're talking to Phil Buchy, who is the owner of Legion Brewing Company. One of the things that I found really interesting about your location is that usually when you go to a brew pub, for example, like I said earlier in this broadcast, either there's a focus on the food or the beer. It's really hard to focus on both those situations. What I was blown away, like you mentioned earlier, is the quality of the food you guys have, and the range of options, plus an all-star lineup of beer. How do you focus really on both avenues and making sure that the highest quality for the customer coming in? Because it's very easy for someone who's maybe a brewery that says, hey, we make burgers and fries and we have amazing beers, and we're going to really focus on our beers. How do you guys, be able to facilitate that high quality on both ends?
Well, it starts with me with knowing what I know and what I don't know. So I've surrounded myself with extremely good people. Our staff is just rock star. They're all pulling in the same direction. We've got some superstars on staff and some staff that back up our superstars and let them shine. So I started brewing. I was the brewmaster. I still am the brewmaster when we first started. But so on a brew team, the only time I get a call now is if something's on fire. Knock on wood, that doesn't happen that often. So,
exactly right.
They're up and running and doing a great job. And same way on the culinary side with our food program, Chef Gene. He's, like I said, he's one of the OGs of Charlotte. He used to run one of the Michelin ranked restaurants here in town, and so we just find good talent, and everybody that comes on, I always have the same thing. Like, we're hiring you to be a part of our family, not just our company. I intend, and everybody else here intends to. This is the last company we ever want you working for, and they really buy into that. We're trying to community and have a good time. Honestly, you spend the majority of your life with your work family more than you do with your normal family. So
very true.
We like surrounding ourselves with the like-minded folks that want to have a good quality of life and give back to the community.
Couldn't have said it better. We got some questions coming in here from the chat here. One from KJ Corder asks, Phil and Greg, regarding food, what are your opinions on food trucks and neighborhood breweries? Obviously, you have a full-featured kitchen there at both locations, I believe. What's your kind of opinions on breweries that have more of a food truck-oriented approach as opposed to in-house kind of kitchen?
Honestly, we did that from the start. Both of our breweries are right here in the neighborhood. I walked here. I walked up here from home. Both of our locations and the other locations that we're opening up are right in the middle of neighborhoods. We don't like to separate ourselves. We try to find locations and stick ourselves right in the middle of everybody. Mm-hmm. When we first opened up, we didn't technically have a food truck because we moved the food truck inside and let them use our kitchen. Mm-hmm. But all the breweries that do that, and there's a bunch here in Charlotte that do that. I love food trucks, especially I go to Portland whenever I can and hit their food truck court up and their scene, and around here in Charlotte, I think it's a great thing. I think it's good. Because a lot of people don't have running a restaurant's hard. If you don't have the right people in place, it's the fastest way you can go out of business. You can tank your cash flow real quick. So,
Yes, absolutely.
so I was gonna say, if you have a good food truck operator, that's a good idea sometimes.
For me, I always looked at food trucks as, we don't have the space in the kitchen, or we don't have a kitchen for a brewery. And even in a neighborhood brewery like yours, you have the opportunity to use them if you need to. And I think that's what makes kind of the experience at a brewery even better. Is ordering food out of a truck, sitting in a picnic chair or something like that. So I'm all for that. I think it's a great thing to have either way. Another question from Heather here. Heather Albertson says, how many flagship beers does Legion have, and what style of beer, what kind of beer are they?
Well, Juicy J IPA. That's our flagship IPA. That's probably, honestly, like 80% of what we sell in terms of volume.
Mm-hmm.
But after that, we have our Penguin Pils or Pilsner is our next best seller, and also Flicker Days. It's a American wheat that we use Neo Mexicalis hops in it, and that sells really well. Our Irish Stout, Cilantro, sells Rockstar when it's cold outside. We won our World Beer Cup medal for that one. It's kind of hard to sell in the summer, but
yeah,
I still drink it. I don't know what everybody's problem is with dark beer and heat. It's fine with me. But typically, we brew about 100 different kind of beer a year. Everything from barrel aged, foeder aged, sours, kettle sours, fruited beers, pale ales, lagers. I mean, we do everything. We've got our smallest firm. We've got a battery of small 15 barrel fermenters up to 90 barrel fermenters, and I'm about to drop in some 240s here in a little while. So we've got a wide plethora of beers. We do kvassas. We do all sorts of fun stuff, but I would say that most, if not all, of our beers are designed, no matter what flavor profile we're going after, is definitely to be approachable.
Mm-hmm.
We want it to pair well with food, and we want people to, have more than one of them. So we do a couple aggressive styles just for shits and giggles, but most of the time it's quaffable, sessionable type beers is what we go after.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting. A lot of brewers are now going to a more low-cal, low-alcohol, but high-quality flavors. And as a father and going out to a dinner, I can't get slushed up on a couple of beers like that. I want to enjoy my food, have a good beer, have them together, and still be able to drive home safely. So it's good to have that approach there, especially with the beer there. Let's take some more questions from the audience. If you're listening, if you have a question for Phil or myself, either way, please put it in the comments. We'll take one here from Tyler. Tyler says, homebrewing in North Carolina has been very hard for me. Water quality is terrible. The humidity challenges are my fermentations. What have you learned from brewing in North Carolina? Do you share the same kind of opinions there? Or what's your take on that, Phil?
Where I am here in Charlotte, we've got great water quality. As long as you run it through a charcoal filter to take all the chlorine and chloramine out of the water, you're good to go. We don't mess with RO, or we don't need to. The water is really, really clean. We do pretty much every beer we do water additions to adjust what we want to do with that, whether it's a hoppy style or a malt forward style. We do water additions with pretty much everything that we do, but we've been really blessed. If you're in a bad area with rust in your water, or it doesn't fit your flavor profile, homebrew's set up. I mean, I go RO and build your water from scratch. It's not that expensive to do on a homebrew scale. And if you're trying to do a brewery, that might hurt a little bit.
You want to have your brewery next to a good water source. That's what Phil's trying to say here.
That's step one.
Awesome. Well, another question we have from Beer Runner in terms of what was your gateway beer that got you hooked on brewing? You talked about being in Colorado and seeing that stuff. What was the beer that kind of turned your vision into where it is today from a craft perspective?
Oh, man, I was one of those that I bought a different beer every single time. I rarely ever bought the same beer twice. Because I was going down the rabbit hole. I picked up the GABF or the BJCP guidelines. I just went down the BJCP wherever I could find those beers, and I went to a different style each time. But doing that and experiencing all those different flavors, I have definitely settled in to where I like finding, if I know something's quality, I'm going after it. I still experiment, but most of the time, like, give me that good Pilsner, give me that good IPA, give me that stout. And I love Hefeweizens. Wheat beer is probably, I would say, to answer your question, wheat beer was probably my gateway. I love tart. I love wheat. So that's probably what took me down the hole. Sierra Nevada was always a go-to. Deschutes was a go-to. Tons of everything in Colorado is good. You can't
you're not
find a bad
you're not
brewery.
hurrying for beer out there, that's for sure. So.
Yeah, you can't find a bad brewery in Colorado. Much love out there, man.
Speaking of styles, we mentioned another question from the chat here from Louis is, any saisons you have in rotation or in the future from your brewery? You talk a little bit about baseline kind of quaffable styles. Saison definitely fits that bill. Is that something you're interested in doing or have already for your beer?
Yeah, one of my favorite beers in the world is Saison Dupont's Foray. That beer is Rockstar. We used, when we first opened, I actually swore that I was never going to brew an IPA. We were going to be a straight Saison brewery, and that changed.
Can't sell any beer.
That's like saying no to money.
Yeah, exactly right.
As diehard as you want to be and like fight the good fight, it's also, you got to keep the lights on. So
yeah, absolutely.
But
absolutely.
we come out with Saison on occasion. We kind of slowed down because we were focusing on our barrel program and our foeder program. But we had a couple Saisons planned for the summer, and then this whole #Rona thing hit, and they kind of they're on pause.
Derailed a lot of things. Yeah.
But yeah, Saison's one of my favorite styles. I love farmhouse style beers. We've got partnerships with tons of great farmers around town. The styles the beer that we brew, we try to source as locally as possible. But we're definitely all North American. Like our logo up here, it's a Native American symbol for friendship. We try to be a Native to America brewery with friends. That's what the crossed arrows mean. So we, Riverbend, Malt House up in Asheville, Carolina Malt, Epiphany Malt here. We use tons of their guys' malts, all grown locally here in North Carolina. The hop selection here isn't the best, so we do a beer once a year here. But other than that, they're coming from Yakima.
Yep.
But
like
definitely
everybody else.
all of our adjuncts that we pull from, our fruits and whatnot, we source locally, and that all fits right there into that Saison style. So we love brewing those type beers. They're commercially, they don't sell as quickly as an IPA, obviously, or something like that. But that's one thing that we like about having the restaurant here. We'll have 15 different type beer on draft at any one time, and they're well curated to have a full spectrum of flavor. The way they pair well. We just don't have 27 IPAs on draft, or and like one Pilsner. Like we have one or two IPAs on draft, one or two lagers on draft, one or two dark beers on draft. We have a good rainbow of flavors to complement the food that we're trying to put out and have a good experience, because not everybody likes drinking the same thing. So we like to have that rainbow spectrum of flavors to pull from in our pantry and serve the customer. And they're always rotating. We have one drops off and one comes on at like once or twice a week. In normal circumstances.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's very interesting the way you put that, Phil. I think a lot of people over the last couple of years have really wanted something other than an IPA. You mentioned before about, you didn't want to do an IPA, but you had to kind of, that's what everyone wanted. I definitely see the kind of way of people's drinking habits changing, and maybe even changed drastically after all this Corona stuff has gone through, only because, people want different types of beer, different styles. I've heard more people say, hey, I want to try something other than an IPA. What do you have from a Pilsner? What's your lager? So it's great to see you kind of that rainbow flavor there, from that side. So I'm really, really excited about about that front there, especially with your food program.
Yeah, I appreciate it. It's fun.
Awesome. Well, Phil, we're near the end here. I really appreciate you hopping on board. I want to give you an opportunity to kind of have any last minute plugs for you guys, where people can find your beer in case they're outside North Carolina, what states maybe you distribute to, if you're only in North Carolina, where they can find them, or any other information you want to share with the community here.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah, we our first breweries here started in Plaza Midwood, which is just east of Uptown Charlotte. Second brewery is here in South Park, which is just south of Charlotte. We were draft only inside of just the Charlotte metro region, and now we're in cans. So find us in all the grocery stores around town, bottle shops around town, and we've got a new production facility in the works. So we're looking to expand further. But come to Charlotte and visit. You won't be disappointed.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much, Phil. We're going to have a few other information here on some of the stuff that we're working on for Untapped TV. We're going to have 2 more guests coming up on Thursday and Saturdays next week. So next Thursday, I'm really excited about this. We're going to have Andrew Berman, who is the co-founder of Other Half Brewery in Brooklyn, come on, talk all things about Other Half, their All Together beer project they just put out to support some of the stuff within COVID. We're also going to have on next Saturday Matt Vaughn from the Jolly Scholar Brewery talk a little bit about his brewery and everything around it as well. We're really excited about that. If you have any questions or anything that you kind of want to reach out to us, make sure you reach out at media@untapped.com. We'd love to hear your feedback. And once again, as we mentioned at the top of the show, really want to kind of hone in on our virtual festival that's going to be happening on the 13th and 14th. And May 25th is the last day to purchase the Drinking Socially package, which gets you 11 craft beers delivered to your door in some states. And like I said earlier in the call, or the show here, we got a limited number of tickets here. So it's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to have a live broadcast. We're going to talk through all these beers over 2 days in this session. Definitely check us out at untapped.com/virtual festival. We're really excited about that. Once again, if you're looking to watch some of our other shows that we have on here, maybe some prior shows, we're available also in podcast form as well as in video form. So check us out at untapped.tv. You can see all the past episodes there, or on podcasts or any podcasts wherever you listen to it. Apple, Google, we're all there because of the audio version only of that podcast there. So we really appreciate your support. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next Thursday for our virtual happy hour with Andrew Berman with Other Half. And cheers, everybody. Thanks very much.